Good evening, and this is the Night Sports Show. I am Zach DeWeer, and I'm along with Mark Vanderlucht.
Hola.
And for, it has been a little while, but we have Caleb Bradley with us as well. Alex is still recovering from a week off in Mexico. But we're just going to keep on going. We're a little late, but that's all right. So the World Juniors just wrapped up the other day. Canada did come away with the gold medal. They beat Sweden 3-1 in that championship game. So I just want your guys' thoughts on that, maybe some prospects that you're happy with. How did you guys think Rasmus Dahlin, the projected number 1 overall pick, did, or the Canadian? I don't think Canada actually has players going into the draft. I think everyone on the Canadian team has already been drafted, so I don't know how often that is, but I just want your guys' thoughts on maybe the tournament in general, maybe prospects that you liked or didn't like.
Well, first of all, I find it amazing how the last choice of the team, Tyler Steenbergen, is the guy that gets the most important goal of the tournament.
I have an issue already. Steenbergen is getting credit like he just won the presidential election when Steenbergen had his stick on the ice and the puck was legitimately put on his stick. If the guy missed that shot, the guy should
right
be...
time, right place.
Right time, right place.
Come on.
The guy who deserves the game-winning goal is Mr. Timmins, who put the puck directly... See, this is the issue I have with sports sometimes. The guy who does the... Russell Westbrook could score 99 points, but if Steven Adams hits the game winner to win 101-100, who's the guy getting picked up at the end of the game, getting cheered on? You won us the game. Steven Adams. It's the same with baseball. A pitcher could pitch a 9-inning shutout, but the guy who hits the walk-off home run gets all the attention. Timmins put that puck, it was through a guy's legs, right on the tape. Probably one of the best passes of the tournament because of the time it happened, but an unbelievable play. Yet Ray Ferraro was getting way too excited about Steenbergen for a reason that I just... Yeah, he scored the goal. Good for him. He had a stick on the ice. I could have scored that with my eyes closed. We can go back to talking about the tournament, but I say that Timmins deserves every ounce of gratitude for that goal, and he's the one who deserved that assist that he got was way bigger than the goal Steenbergen scored. Go back ahead. I'm done.
Rant over. Well, the one thing that I gotta say is it's just one of those cliche stories, right? Like the 13th forward scoring the golden goal. I'd say it's pretty cool, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is.
But the one thing, though, the media...
Cool thing was I think he was the only forward who hadn't had a goal to that point.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That's one heck of a story right there.
That's a good time to score it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, but here's the thing, though. The media and the fans are always going to remember Tyler Steenbergen scoring, but it's his teammates that know that it was Connor Timmins that set up that goal.
And Caleb.
And the coach is... yeah.
Not Ray Ferraro, apparently.
No.
But what do you guys think about Elias Anderson, I think, who threw his medal over...
Okay.
We already had this debate in the car on the way up.
I bet you did.
I got mixed feelings on this,
honestly,
okay?
I don't really have a massive problem with it.
You're more on Mark's side then, because
you have a problem
what Mark
with
was saying was Pacioretty said something that
No. I'm not saying that I'm on either side right now. I'm taking neutral sides. I get it. You come to the tournament for a gold medal. You want to win. But is throwing a medal into the stands something that I would do?
The fan wanted it more than he did.
I don't blame him. Yeah, honestly. But he came to the tournament for gold. He didn't come there for silver. No one goes there for silver. Even the Danish players don't go there for silver or bronze. They want to win. Realistically, they won't win gold, obviously. They didn't even come close. But they don't go there, oh yeah, let's win bronze. Let's win silver. No, they want to win gold.
I have a bigger issue with the fact that he's the captain.
Yeah,
of the team.
it's. I was going to say that as well. He's the captain
of the team, and it's like an older brother. If your older brother swears, then you think it's okay as the younger brother to start swearing. If a captain's chucking his medal,
yeah.
Also, another thing I had an issue with was the guy who presented him with the medal. No gratitude, no handshake, no nothing.
No, he wanted to grab the medal first. He wasn't going to put it around his head.
I'm going to put it around my neck. He got mad at the medal guy who was doing his job.
He did.
And then he proceeded to chuck it over the glass to a American fan who then took off a couple jerseys and ended up having a Swedish jersey on. He had 4 jerseys on.
No,
But
like if you were what?
it's just it's childish, and the thing is these kids are, call them kids, they're our age and 1 year younger.
Yeah.
And I'm not making the smartest decisions every day either. I don't think anyone is at this age, but they're kids. But there's a difference between, I don't like Ray Ferraro, but Ray Ferraro made an actual decent comment. He said they're kids, but they're not like kids. Like they're old enough to realize that chucking a silver medal, if this kid was
because you're on a platform, you're on a stage, you got to present yourself professionally.
How many think people watched him throw his medal over the stands?
A lot.
A couple million watched it. And even if I didn't see him originally do it. I saw when the guy had the medal after, but you weren't watching the game. That was on Barstool, that was on House of Highlights, that was on Bleacher Report, that was on TSN. So many people saw that, and that's gonna the sad part about this is one moment can affect your entire life. So Steenbergen will probably
he will remember that goal for the rest of his life.
Jordan Eberle to me is the guy who tied that Canada-Russia game to make it 5-5 to only win in a shootout. That's how I remember Jordan Eberle.
Eberle has ice in. Well, in the tournament after that, in the gold medal game against USA, he scores 2 goals right back to back to tie up the game.
Remember that. Some do, but
Canada went on to lose, but still, he tied up the game to force it to OT, which is a coin flip. Whoever wins, right?
That was arguably one of the not arguably, it is one of the biggest, arguably the biggest goal in Canada's World Junior history when they tied that Russian game. That was
absolutely.
Definitely
3 seconds left. That is the goal. Crosby with the golden goal. There are so many things that one thing can define you, right? And you look at this guy, and whenever I see that guy in a Rangers jersey, unless he gets traded, I'm going to think that's the guy who chucked his medal over into the into the audience, the stands. That's what it's just. These guys don't realize that one decision can change their entire hockey career. And how do you think the Rangers feel about that? What's this guy going to be like in the dressing room? Not going to be first in line for food? Is he going to chuck his plate at the general manager? Like, I don't know. This guy's he's turning into a liability now. And I just, you're upset. That's great. But he doesn't even, after the fact, he's not even apologetic. He said he's happy he did it, and he's not going to regret it.
I think you will regret it.
So I do, but what does that mean? He's going to punch a guy in the dressing room. He's just not going to feel bad after. This guy feels absolutely no shame in anything. I don't know. I'd feel a lot of shame in chucking a medal over the boards in front of millions of people. If he doesn't feel shame in that, the guy's not feeling shame in anything.
What makes it more egregious, though, is the fact that he's a captain. He's supposed to be a leader, and if you don't want to win silver, don't play like it. Play for gold. Right?
And if you
make it happen,
respect the process.
Yes,
and take it like a man.
You win or you lose. There's no, I lose, I can still win. No, it's like you can't just throw a temper tantrum and a hissy fit at the World Juniors when you lose. Like, you lost. Accept it. Be better for next year. If you can't play next year, well, then use it as motivation for your career going forward, and then take that motivation and play better. If you don't want to lose in the Stanley Cup Finals, play better. It's just a fact. If you don't have anything to let yourself get motivated from, how do you play better? Right? And this guy's just chucking medals. Put that medal on a pedestal in your bedroom or whatever and say, if I don't want to lose, I got to look at this and I'm just going to play better. Now he's just chucking the medals, giving it away. He's a captain. Lead by example. If you want to win, if you don't want to lose, play better. That's pretty simple.
And if you play better and you still lose, don't chuck it into the fans.
Accept defeat. All right? Learn from it. There's a reason why you lost, because your team wasn't good enough. You didn't have a perfect performance or a good performance.
Is he going to do this every single time the Rangers lose?
Exactly.
That's happen a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
So the guy's just turned into a complete liability.
Because that was Sweden's first loss of the tournament, so they didn't know what loss.
What would he have done if he had lost in a round robin game? Would he have been going over to Denmark's team and trying
throwing the player of the game watch into the stands or something?
Yeah, you just never know what the guy's going to be doing if he's chucking his that medal. Like, that is, I would kill for one of those. To be in the World Juniors and win a medal, that's one of the coolest moments of your life. Obviously, didn't think so when it was silver, but to have a World Juniors medal, I would...
Because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Some junior players don't even get to play in the World Juniors.
That's the other thing I have an issue with. What about all those Swedish guys who were one of the last cuts who would have killed to be there and to have that medal? And
absolutely,
this guy's just chucking it over the glass.
Just chucking it. Yeah.
Or the guy who wanted to be captain on that team and lost out to him and sees him doing that. How does that make any other guy on that Swedish team feel? I know for me, if I'm, the one of the last 5 cuts of that Sweden team and I see that guy doing that, I'm so upset that, for one, he has no respect towards the team or the country, but 2, that I got cut behind that guy who's chucking a medal over the boards. I'd be very upset if I were a Swedish player who didn't make the team, or even if I was on the team.
Well, I just have a slight chuckle to myself and just say, well, good luck facing the media after that, right?
He had no shame.
He had no shame.
He didn't regret it.
He didn't regret it. That was about...
I think he will regret
that. Was about 10 minutes after the medal chuck, but, had no shame 10 minutes after, so it wasn't one of those things where halfway while the medal was in the air, he was wishing it was coming back.
That's pretty ballsy, I'd say.
So who's your player of the tournament for Canada? Do you have one, or is it just everybody was
last
great?
year? It was very easy.
I didn't,
it was
honestly,
Shabbat, but
I'm just going to say it right now. I didn't watch enough to really say who is the MVP of the tournament.
Timmins was great. Timmins was great late in the tournament.
I'd say
Makar was very good as well.
I would say Makar was the best player over the whole tournament. And I was very impressed with Dylan Dubé.
Yeah.
After his tournament last year, which was
he was the captain, right?
He was the captain.
I thought as a captain, he stepped up big time. Really stepped up big time.
He did score the first goal in the gold medal game as well.
He did, and so he was a leader, and he wasn't doing stupid things. You never saw him take any cheap shots at anyone. He was known to be a little bit of a Gallagher-type gritty player last year. He stepped up this year, wasn't throwing any cheap shots. He played a great overall team game. So,
my one guy, though, I'd say is Zadina from Czech Republic.
Yeah, he lit it up.
He played very well. He wasn't in the top 10 scorers, but he was scoring some really important goals later on in the tournament. He's a big reason why they got to the bronze medal game. It's unfortunate that they didn't win the bronze, but
crushed in the bronze medal game.
I'm impressed with Middlestat and Bellows too. Like those guys are.
Middlestat was very good.
Middlestat's with Buffalo. That's good for Buffalo. And
well, I don't know.
Doing it in Buffalo
is it good for his career though? Buffalo's just a dumpster fire. But yeah, and then Martin Nikas from Czech Republic as well had a really good tournament. I'm pulling up the stats right now. He finished number 2 in scoring. But, yeah, like I said, I didn't watch enough of the tournament to fully justify who is the most valuable player of the tournament. Because in a tournament like this, it's just so difficult to fully gauge at who exactly is the most valuable. Like, you look at a team like Denmark, and then you look at their goalies who are getting outshot to kingdom come.
I think
having like 50 or 60 shots.
60-9 against
like,
the Finland game. In the
that's,
Finland game.
Yeah.
60-9.
Like, but then he lets in 6 goals, though. So is he the MVP for Denmark? Yeah, but is he the MVP for the tournament? No, absolutely not. Right?
Well, yeah, he let in 6. I don't think there's ever been a guy who lets in 6 goals and has a 900 GAA.
That's
pretty sad for. It's pretty sad that he was crushed that much with shots,
right? And it's also difficult though, because like when you look at the stat score sheets, when you see a guy that, he put up 10 points. Well, how many of those points were in the group stage? How many of those points were in the medal rounds? Right? When did he put up those points in the right times? Was he just a group performer, or was he a late bloomer and put up points when it mattered the most?
I do really like this tournament though, because it's the first time where these all-star players are surrounded by other all-star players, because like Dylan Dubé with Kelowna and Thomas with London and who's the other guy I was thinking of, but all these guys have their individual teams where they just put up obnoxious amounts of points.
Yeah.
Like Thomas is the leading scorer in the OHL. Was Thomas really a standout out there? He was good, but you wouldn't project that he was the top scoring guy in the OHL.
No.
So this is the first time where they're wrapped around other good players, for one. And this is the first time where they're getting a lot of people watching them and a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
And, you
you want to see how they react to it.
It's good to know how these kids are going to deal with pressure, and it's good to know how these guys will play with the team and when there's other all-stars around them, which is what they're going to have in the NHL.
And that's another thing, though, is like if a prospect doesn't play well in a tournament, it doesn't necessarily show that they're going to be a bad NHL player. It's just the dynamics of what the tournament is around them.
It's a big difference. And you look at a guy like Nolan Patrick, who just absolutely killed his junior career. But
He played well, but he was injured a lot.
Look at him now.
He's not doing well.
He's
nine
points.
Yeah, 9 points in 32 games.
So it would have been...
It's not great.
So New Jersey definitely made the right call.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You look at a guy like Joe Thornton. He put up 7 points in 57 games in his rookie season. Joe Thornton.
So it's not over
Patrick
yet.
is a Joe Thornton type player. The thing for me is
that's
Nico
what I'm saying.
Hischier's playing on the first line with Jeremy
Taylor
Bratt
Hall.
and Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall is pretty good.
And then he's getting first line minutes. And you got Nolan Patrick, who is on the third line.
Yes,
playing with Wayne Simmons and Wheel.
Dale
Which
Weiss.
honestly, not a bad... it's not that bad a line.
You could do a lot.
Like Wheel and Simmons, but you're only getting
Matt
15
Martin,
minutes a game.
Dominic Moore,
Like you saw with
Roman Polak.
You saw it with Marner. Like he got moved down to the fourth line. Obviously, you're not going to put up that many points.
But what's really interesting, though, is if you see or if you watch Matt Martin play, the skilled guys that have played with him have actually rubbed off on him, and it's actually hilarious to watch him now. He's moving the puck
Drives the
around,
toe
and it's
drag.
just like, all right, Matt, you're not a dangler, you're not a sniper, you're an enforcer. All right, you're only good with your hands when you're punching people. Okay, you're just a knuckle dragger right now. Don't toe drag. Don't try and snipe. That's not your job.
How many points does he have this year?
10. But he had 9 points last season in 82 games.
Matt Martin's got more points than Nolan Patrick. So
He does.
Who's the better player? Who would you rather have?
who would you rather have?
Well,
I don't know where
I don't
Nolan
know.
Patrick would center our fourth line. I think it's probably how.
yeah,
it
he
would.
would.
Out.
He honestly, he would. He really would.
But
You're not
if
replacing
going-
him with Kadri or Bozak.
No, but then you'd put him into the minor leagues. You're not letting Nolan Patrick on your fourth line.
No.
There's
Well, the
no
Flyers
point
have
in
him on the third.
that. I don't know.
Do you
why.
think the Flyers have made the right choice with that?
I don't know. I really
Because you look at
Well, like-
Couturier, and Couturier, he's getting first line time, and look at him now. He's completely blasted this year. Mark said he's got more points this year than he has in his career.
Yeah, he set a career high in points.
And we're at game 41.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's halfway.
And he scored 2 goals tonight, so that's nice.
Yeah. He had a good night.
So he's already crushed it.
But
by
like here's
4 points.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's but here's the thing with Philadelphia though. They have a lot of blue chip defensemen, and then their forwards are struggling heavily after Giroux, Couturier, and
Giroux's third in the
Voracek.
league. I did not know that. He's
He's-
third in the league in points.
Well,
I
when you're
traded
playing
him
with
in fantasy
Voracek-
for Werenski and Saad. So that's a little bit of a
Well,
reserve
okay,
one
but when
now.
you're playing with Voracek and Couturier, you're gonna do all right.
You're gonna do all right,
But
but-
then the next line is Scott Lawton and Wayne Simmons and whoa,
goes down
where the
really
heck does it
quickly.
go now? Right?
Yeah.
But like, and in their position at the draft this past summer, who do you take? What was the guy? Miro Heiskanen or something?
Yeah, the Dallas
something long.
defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who went, or was it Cal Macker? Who?
No.
Doesn't matter.
Heiskanen
Like
went
Cale
third.
Makar went
But
5 or 4.
I think he
Phillies.
went 4 because he went to Colorado, who should have gotten 1, but they got pushed back 3 spots.
And that could have been a blessing in disguise.
I think Philly made the right choice by choosing Nolan Patrick based on the upside that he has. He has number 1 or number 2 upside as the number 1 centerman or as the number 2. He's not a franchise centerman as it's obviously seen here, because when you see a franchise centerman, you see Stamkos, Crosby, Matthews, McDavid. Those guys are franchise centers.
You kind of just know what you're going to get out of
Yeah.
Patrick. He's going to be a 60, 70-point guy. He's going to get a lot of goals. He's going to get a lot of assists. He's going to be a decent hitter. He's going to be able to play, on the power play, on the penalty kill if you need him. He's going to be a Joe Thornton type guy. If he has the leadership, I think he's very relatable to Joe Thornton. Like
As long as he's not injury prone, he should be
as long
that.
as he can stay healthy.
So
Joe Thornton's got injured his fair share of times, but as long as he stays healthy, I think
Yeah.
he's a Joe Thornton type guy. If he can get some leadership and some respect in that dressing room, then I I think he'll be fine. But right now it's tough when he's playing on a line with Wayne Train and Wheel on the third line.
Well, Wayne Simmons, he's a good player.
It's not a bad line. It's
No.
just not a first line with Jeremy Bratt and
No. Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall.
Jesper Bratt
Like,
and
it's a
Taylor
complete Jesper Bratt and Taylor Hall. It's a completely different set. Like it's just, and I think he sure fits in that line way better. Like I think if Patrick was on that line, it really wouldn't. Like Patrick and Hall aren't really compatible. It seems like Heischer is more of a Taylor Hall type center.
I don't know.
but
New Jersey's always needed that number one centerman, though. They have it.
I'd take
They're going to
Heischer,
have
though.
it in Pavel Zacha, but Zacha is not developed quick enough for now to warrant him becoming a number one centerman. Pavel Zacha will become a number two for sure.
I think Heischer's their number one for a while. He's shown that he can. He's already put up. I think he's pretty close to. I think he's probably at 30 points. He's close to a point a game, and he's been showing that line really does well. And New Jersey's been doing fantastic. Thank you to that line, and also thank you to Corey Crawford, who is. I think he's 22, 10,
Corey
and 3 or something.
Schneider, you mean?
Schneider,
Yeah.
who's been unreal. He's
been
been
good.
locked down for the Devils.
And then, they who's their defenseman? They had a college signing this past summer who's just lighting it up too.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
yeah.
Forget his name.
Doesn't matter.
But he's
He's
been
playing
doing
well.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had a lot of guys. Who
I
have
don't know.
come
I
up.
like New Jersey for now made the right choice, but long term, Heischer will never be a complete centerman. Right? He's going to be a Claude Giroux type of centerman.
Claude Drew's worked out pretty
But
well.
Giroux has needed to work on his two-way game, and in the early part of his career, he was not a good enough defensive centerman with his offense, right? So that's why Philly, except for that Stanley Cup final, I think Giroux was a part of that team at the time, but he's never been known for his defensive game. He's always been like this season. He's got 52 points, 53?
51 or 52.
So, in my opinion, you need your number one centerman to be an everything man. You need him to be able to play offense and defense because that's what Crosby can do. That's what Matthews can do. That's what Taves can do. That's what Bergeron can do. That's what Kopitar can do. That's what Getzlaf can do. That's what Thornton can't quite do, right? That's the difference. Backstrom can't quite do that.
McDavid.
Cannot do that.
He's on the penalty kill for Edmonton, though.
I don't know why. I really like
Who else do they have? Throw 5 defensemen.
Mark
if you want.
Letestu.
Matt Benning.
Looking at the juniors,
Wow,
though,
is that
could
Jim
have-
Benning's nephew or something or kid?
I
Or?
don't know.
You could have one guy.
Jennings?
You could have one guy from Team Canada on the Leafs. Who do you take?
Crosby.
No,
What?
moron.
Wait,
From
from
the
the
juniors.
Oh, hey. Well, okay.
I wouldn't
Forgive
mind-
me.
I'm
All
not just
right.
Playing random Canada. I'll take.
Well, when you say Team Canada and not say the World Juniors, I'm immediately
I said the
going
World
to
Juniors,
assume.
but you were talking about a nephew or something. I don't know.
Okay, but from the World Juniors, who do I take?
Yeah,
Oh man, I don't know. I have no idea.
from Team Canada. I know.
I'm
who
going
I
to take a
from-
goalie. I don't know.
I know who I take from.
I'll take a
Sweden.
defenseman.
I know who I take from the U.S.
Darlene.
I know who I take from
Mittelstadt.
Czech. I know
Zadina?
who I take from Slovakia.
Slovakia. Who? Who from Slovakia?
Studenec. Guy
Oh,
for the Bulldogs.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
I really wouldn't care for him. He wouldn't make the team. But for Canada, I think it's got to be probably Makar
I would say the same thing.
or Timmins or
Yeah.
Foot. I'd take any of them.
I'd take a defenseman. I wouldn't take a forward. The forward just would end up on the fourth line.
It's sad, but that's
So.
the reality.
Yeah, because Babcock never changes his lines.
Colorado wouldn't do it, but you go to Colorado and say, "Hey, we want Makar."
Oh, and I also want to point out a little mistake that I made. Tyson Jost was not a part of Team
Yeah,
Canada.
I was always kind of second guessing that one, and
I read a report
didn't
that he
think-
was being loaned, and
I thought
he
I did too,
was
but I'm
not.
pretty sure Sakic said no from the start, but I could be wrong. But we are going to take a very brief break, 5 minutes or less. We'll be back just kind of talking about the midway point in the NHL season. This has been the Knights Sports Show. Welcome back, and you are listening to the Night Sports Show. Just took a quick, brief break there. I am here with Mark and Caleb. We just talked a lot about the World Juniors and a lot about the prospects and a little bit about the New Jersey Devils that kind of got derailed, but that's all right. So now we're going to talk more just about the NHL and the midway point, and we all here are undoubtedly shocked at what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing, as well as you are probably. They are currently leading the Western Conference, second in the NHL in points. They have an absurd 17-1-2 home record.
2-1, but
2-1, sorry.
Doesn't matter. Same thing.
It doesn't matter.
What is it?
17-2-1.
They get home ice advantage for the playoffs.
They're winning the cup.
They're winning the cup. That's what it is.
Halfway through, imagine we're halfway through the season, so 34-4-2 is their home record. Or I guess that would only equal to 40 home games, but 34.
I'm terrified of that.
5-2. 34-5-2 as their home record. What the heck?
That's horrifying to think about. That's true. Like, good luck. Like those 2 wins were probably like shootout losses or something, right? Those 2 losses that Vegas has at home, they're probably shootout losses.
Well, 17 wins, 2 regulation losses, and 1 shootout loss.
Yeah, so only 2 in regulation.
Oh, okay. Right, I mixed it up.
Yeah, you're lost.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, like when you look at their team at the beginning, we were like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna be
contender."
Yeah,
what is it?
I remember you saying if a team does worse than Vegas, they should be in the AHL. You said that. That's a quote.
I did say that.
You. That's a quote.
I did.
Right now, 30 teams should be in the AHL. 29 teams. Sorry.
Say your quote over for everyone to hear. Just say it again.
If for any reason at all. For any reason whatsoever, at all, ever, for any reason.
Getting out of hand.
Okay, so if any team finishes below Vegas in the standings, they should be relegated and fired into the sun after getting relegated to the AHL.
You said just going
relegated to the AHL.
Relegated to the AHL. And right now, 29
next year,
29
it'll be a 2-person league between the Tampa Bay Lightning.
59 teams.
How crazy would that be, though, if Vegas were to actually get to the Cup final and win?
The Vegas odds has them at 6-1.
6-1
at the beginning. It was 500-1.
Yeah, 500-1.
Yeah, you put $1 on Vegas. You're feeling pretty good about it now.
Yeah, you're feeling great.
Although
if you put 10,
pretty close to indestructible, but
yeah. Well, but that's fair to say. But if you put $10 on the Vegas Knights to win the Cup before the start of the season, and they win the Cup, you're a rich person.
$5,000 is borderline rich, but
you're feeling good. That's $10.
You're feeling good.
You're feeling good. But I'm just trying to figure out what makes them so good. Is it their system? Is it the way that they have such a team structured system? Like they fight when you watch them play, they're a dynamic team that fights for literally every single play. They go 100
third liners. Their whole team is third line. They're grinders. They got a couple goal scorers and then grinders.
But here's the thing, though. Unexpectedly, William Karlsson and Erik Haula and Riley Smith have come out of simply nowhere, right? Because
you know that they could have done that if they didn't have stars on their team, like Karlsson had Panarin as a star in his team, and maybe if he had a first line role, Karlsson could have had that, but now that he's given that on Vegas,
Marchessault had.
Well, it's all about ice time.
Marchessault.
Okay.
No, but that's the whole thing though. They've gotten playing time, they've gotten the opportunities to be put into those roles, and they don't want to let it go to waste. Well, I'm not putting it into good words right now, but they're maximizing on their opportunities, right? Marchessault and Karlsson and Smith and Haula and Eakin and are just all playing well. They're all playing as a team. And even the best teams struggle consistently playing as a team on a night-to-night basis. But Vegas has it down pat that every single puck that's free is theirs, right? And then their system supports a team style. They cannot afford to get away from a team structure. They've been playing literally playoff hockey since puck drop in October.
And since puck drop in October, I've read an article that their first line had chemistry. The second the puck dropped, they've had chemistry.
Yeah.
And that's their lines have stayed the same. You can't say that with the Leafs, and maybe that's why they're not just behind Tampa Bay. They're still 11 points behind them in the standings.
Because I think Vegas will be the best expansion team of any sport.
They've already beaten 7 teams in points in the NHL expansions already.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. But
I'd argue if they keep this pace up, they will be the best team of any sports expansion history. And right now, I think they're 5 wins away from tying the Florida Panthers' record of wins in their inaugural season. Florida Panthers, currently before this season, were the best expansion team yet
of any
in their inaugural season.
Right.
Yeah, but now Vegas...
No NHL expansion team, besides the ones after the original 6 where they had a separate division for expansion teams, has made the playoffs.
Yep.
The Florida Panthers were a point away back in 93, 94, I want to say, or
94,
95,
yeah, it doesn't matter. And then the season after, they made the finals.
Yeah, they were.
But this team could make the playoffs and the finals, right?
Yeah.
It's just... You look at their team, though, like their first-line centerman isn't an actual first-line centerman for any team. You put him on any other team, he's just not. He's simply not. And then, but their whole team is like that, though. So then when you pair up their third and fourth lines against any other team, Vegas's third and fourth lines are better, literally, than any other team's third and fourth lines. So that's where the depth comes in, and that's where they beat teams. I'd say that's my reason of why they beat so many teams, is because so many teams are either top heavy or they just don't have enough stars.
Well against Vegas.
Like, who do you put out there? Because their lines will either shut you down or just outwork you or outscore you, because their bottom 6 forwards are top 6 forwards and their top 6 forwards are bottom 6 forwards on every team.
You could essentially put the first line on the fourth line and the fourth line on the first line, and it wouldn't be that weird.
No.
Whereas if you put Martin, Dominic Moore, and Leo Komarov on the first line, and Austin Matthews, Nylander, and whoever...
You're going to say, what's going on here, Babs?
It's going to be like, Babs is hammered right now. They have too many brews in the dressing room. So the Knights are just... it's too late to call them a pretender, but I just can't call them a contender just yet. I know they'll probably be in the playoffs, and I know they've been really good at home. Like, they are unbelievable at home, and I know they all have something to prove. But you see this a lot with young pitchers as well. They come into the league and they are absolutely lights out because nobody's ever seen them play before.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with goalies in the NHL. Steve Mason?
Darvish was the best pitcher. Not the best, but Darvish was unbelievable in his rookie season. That was his best season.
He's still one of the best, but he's not the best, right?
I think he was 11-11 this year, or 8-8. He was 50. He was a 500 record.
When you're playing for Texas, you're not going to win a whole lot of games.
He was playing for Texas in
the
his
team
first
is
year too.
junk. Wow, but that's different though. But anyways, bringing it back to hockey.
No.
Okay.
Darvish was the best when he came into the league at first. And that's what's happening with the Knights, because nobody knows how to play them. Nobody knows what these guys are like. These guys have all been shadowed on the third line. Nobody knows where their skill sets are.
Every line is the third line.
Nobody knows how to guard them. If you put Marner on the Penguins and let's say he just played third line minutes and then he came to this team and played first line, you wouldn't know what Marner was really like as a player until he finally got out of that shadow.
Yep.
So all these guys are showing what they can do, except for guys like David Perron, who's been around for a while, and that defenseman who I forget what his name is, but he's from Vegas.
Derek
Englund and Marc-Andre Fleury. But there's some guys like Carlson, Hall, March, so guys who have kind of been...
Alex Tuck is going to get there.
Yeah, kind of behind...
Shea Theodore,
guys
Colin Miller.
Hidden.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Subban, he played great when he was in.
Well, Nate Schmidt was on the bottom pair for Washington. He's on the top pair now.
Been behind Tuukka Rask his whole career. And now he comes up and he did great. Like, these are guys who never got the shot they should have. So they're really not that bad. They're just guys who didn't get a fair chance.
But it's also interesting, though, like when you see Malcolm Subban, his first 2 starts in Boston, he got lit up. He was horrible. He was Swiss cheese. He couldn't stop a beach ball for the life of him. But then he comes to Vegas. Why would he do well in Vegas? Vegas is not a legitimate NHL team. All of a sudden, Vegas starts playing well, and then Subban starts playing well. He's a brick wall. How?
I honestly don't think there's you can digest it and try and break it down all you want. I think they've just I don't want to say they've been lucky, but they're not. Look at their lineup, man. Like we've got it pulled up here: Marchessault, Carlson, Riley, Smith. Does that sound like a Stanley Cup winning team?
If they win the cup, I'm gonna riot.
Who even is Braden McNabb? Like
he's a Kings.
They just signed him.
He was a Kings.
They signed 2 players.
And remember
Jonathan
the beginning
Marchessault,
of the
he made him
year
a good
when
deal.
they had
6
a bunch
years,
of good players and they traded them
lives
all
up to
away
it.
for second round picks, and like they were just giving guys away. Like you have this guy, you have this guy.
Well, like the NHL,
Vegas is stacked for picks. Like,
yeah,
remember that too.
they have
a million
14 or 10. No, they have 10 first 2 round picks for the next 3 years. 10 first round, second round picks.
They were just giving guys away like
10.
Well,
The
that would've been a
NHL
bad
literally
analogy,
rolled
but-
out the red carpet for Vegas and saying, "Hey, take everybody's players."
It was like they were just like Android giving out bad phones. They were just like, you have one, you have one.
Everybody
you have
gets
one.
a phone. They were Oprah Winfrey, but like
Everyone got a decent third line player from Vegas. They were just giving them out like
and then when
Costco
you,
gives out free samples.
Yeah.
And they were taking like, yeah, sure, have them. We'll take back a second.
But here's
And then they
the
added
thing,
up.
though. Like when you look at Carlson, Smith, Holla, Marchessault, well, not so much Marchessault, but a little bit. You don't expect them to be playing this well. Like they're young guys. They have a little bit of upside. They have middle 6 upside. They don't have top 6 upside. They're just middle 6. They're only going to be mediocre, right? They're going to be 40 to 50 point forwards.
Well, that's
and
what
yet,
you thought when they were in the shadow.
Yeah,
Maybe we were
that's-
wrong.
And now they have playing time, and they're actually good.
It makes you think, how many of these guys could have been that?
Well, because like you look at Brendan Leipzig, he's got 10 or 15 points on Vegas, but then you put him back on the Leafs, he's in the AHL still. He's in the AHL.
It's just scary to think. Like a
Like-
guy like Kadri, who was a first round pick, a high first round pick.
7th overall.
What could Kadri have done? Like the Leafs will never know because he never really got that first line center. Like these are guys who are
'cause
now
he was
getting
always- he was-
massive piece to their team.
Play increase.
And
Yeah.
Kadri never really got that.
Well, because he was
all-star
always in Ron Wilson's
seventh-
doghouse.
seventh
Always.
overall
Same with
pick.
Randy Carlyle.
Well, people were saying he had to lose weight and he had to do this and he wasn't in shape and he wasn't good attitude. And what if he, got the opportunity like these guys got? Could
Yeah.
he be a 70-point player? You'll say no.
He was
'cause you
supposed to
don't
be.
think so, but
Supposed to be.
7th overall pick, the guy had it. He was great it was London, right? Great player. And like
Well,
a
that's
guy
how
like
it always
him-
pans out, though. Like, you look at Luke Shen, right? And then Nikita Zaitsev. Or, who is it? Zadorov.
He's on
Columbus.
Colorado.
No. There's a Columbus Blue Jackets pick who was picked 4th overall, shooting out the lights. Doesn't pan out. Alexander Daigle. Doesn't pan out, right? Patrick Stefan. Didn't pan out. So, and then Zach
yeah,
Bogosian. Zach Bogosian was a 3rd overall pick.
Well, there's some guys who get
So-
the first line time and just don't do anything with it, and they actually are worse players. But then there's guys who don't get the first line time, and then you look and they finally get it. And
Exactly. You look at Jake Gardner. When Morgan Riley got injured last season for 6 games, Jake Gardner was put on that top pairing, and for the first few games, he was okay. And then they played Dallas, and then they played a few Western Conference teams, and that was a mess. That was truly something horrible to watch. I was watching a horror movie. Honestly. Jake Gardner has no business being on the top pair. None.
well, Frederick Anderson, who was always kind of like he was the starter on Anaheim.
He
but
got drafted
Gibson-
twice, eh?
Gibson was always
He's gotten drafted twice.
Like the team just didn't sign him.
Like he first got drafted by Carolina. They let him go, unsigned, and then he went through the draft again. Anaheim picked him up through the draft.
guy like Anderson always has Gibson kind of riding his tail, never really a for sure number one.
Vice versa.
He was good, wasn't great. He was always kind of either behind
He was solid,
Gibson.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
He was good.
He had a
but
good
was
team
medium.
in front of him, so
now
that's
he's on
why.
the Leafs. He's one of the upper tier goalies in the league.
Yeah.
He really is, especially this year. He's shown that he's one of the best goalies in the league because he got that. And perfect example is Vasilevsky. Like, that guy would have never, if Tampa Bay didn't have a bad season that year and Stamkos wasn't hurt and injured and Kucherov didn't really step up, if they had a good season that year, they probably would have kept Bishop. Bishop would probably still be on the team today, and Vasilevsky would be backup at best. What kind of waste would that have been? Just because that's essentially because Stamkos got injured is why Vasilevsky is such a good player in the league today, if you think about it. So one little thing like just a bad skate sharpening, getting Stamkos going into the net and breaking his leg.
Yeah.
Then corresponded to Ben Bishop getting traded because Tampa Bay was not a contender, which gave Vasilevsky the door. Like, there's so many things that, like, a tiny thing, just like the trainer could have been sick that day, which made him sharpen the skates bad, and he could have got sick because he got food poisoning from a restaurant. Then he
okay, we're getting crazy here now.
The guy from the Chinese restaurant ruined.
It's a full-on movie now.
Ruined like Vasilevsky may not have been the guy he was today because of that Chinese store owner.
Yep.
But what I'm trying to say is, like, there are so many times where one thing,
like James Van Riemsdyk.
everything. Well, Van Riemsdyk probably wouldn't have been.
Was supposed to be good and then traded to the Leafs, and he is good.
Yeah, and he wasn't that great a player on fit. Like, and look at Luke Schenn, better on the Leafs. Now he's bottom feeder Arizona.
Yeah.
Or isn't he on? No, he's on Vegas.
He's on Arizona.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
I thought he was.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's just,
Bottom pairing too.
it's just Vegas has made, for me at least, I think a lot of other people opened my eyes to, realize that a lot of these guys have some guys have a lot of potential, and you just never get to see it.
No.
And I think that is
Yep.
what this team is. This team is not big name guys, but they're guys who could be big names. You just would have never known because they never got that first line playing time, that time with the best players in the league. And for that reason,
And then you look at Chris Kunitz playing with Crosby. Looks amazing. But you take him off,
Fourth line in Tampa Bay right now.
he is on the fourth line.
And
it's
not
just
doing
crazy to
anything.
think that some guys are never going to get to what they could be in the NHL because of just circumstances. And
Well,
I
then,
think
yeah,
Vegas is a
yeah.
team full of circumstances that went right.
The island of misfits.
Like, their fourth line, sorry guys, but you would be scraping by for an AHL team for the Leafs, right? But they're playing in the NHL now on a team that
Brendan
is second
Leipzig.
best in the league.
Brendan Leipzig is literally that example. Because last year he was in the AHL. He easily could have been in the NHL, but because of circumstances, he was in the AHL. And now he's in the NHL now, and he's doing well.
You want to wrap up the last 5 minutes with the Canadian teams going back to Week 10?
I was actually I have one question to ask you. You are the Montreal Canadiens GM. What do you do with Max Pacioretty?
Trade him.
Easy. Trade him. Where does he go?
Western Conference. Keep him out of the
I heard
Eastern.
San Jose was interested because they need scoring,
Be a great fit.
and it would be a great.
I
fit.
trade him to
If they need
Anaheim.
scoring,
Trade him to
then
Anaheim.
I don't know if
Anaheim needs a left winger, and Anaheim is strong on defense. But they just got rid of Sami Vatanen, so I don't know anymore.
you go to San Jose. What are you looking for?
I don't know who you get in return. What does Montreal need? Defense.
They need everything.
They need everything except the starting goaltender.
Yeah.
Montreal just.
I'd
kinda
start first
needs-
with defense. I'd honestly start first with defense.
But who
Do you trade Pacioretty? Do you
Yeah.
trade him while Carey Price is in his absolute prime? Do you really trade Max Pacioretty and ruin?
Do you think that you're
Any
Patch ready? You just
chance?
need to change the scenery.
I'd just get rid of Carey Price and put him on another team.
Well, that's
Oh,
what
wow.
people always
No.
say all the time.
No,
but
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't
Drouin
do
needed
that.
a change of scenery, and he's doing worse on Montreal.
He-
so
he is.
that's kind of a
Which is-
Maybe you just need a
stupid
better
The
team.
Quebec Wonderkind.
change of
is doing-
scenery. I don't know. Isn't Max Pacioretty from Quebec? I don't. Think
No, he's American.
He's American.
Oh,
He's
is he?
American. Yeah.
I don't know if the guy needs he's an NHL player. He's not needing a change of scenery. I think if you're Montreal, you just got Drouin, if he smartens up, could be a guy who's your number one center going forward.
They have Paul Byron on the second line. Thomas Plekanec's on the second line.
But we've just
They
said that it doesn't
blow
matter.
the whole team up.
It doesn't
blow it all
matter.
up.
It doesn't matter who it is, though.
Oh, man.
You were just saying how Vegas has a bunch of fourth liners. What's wrong with that? They're doing great.
No, okay.
So it obviously means that it's something deeper than just the names. Because if we're saying, you could say, oh, Holla. What if Holla was on their first line? He's on Vegas's first line. Look how great they're doing. I don't think it comes down to that. I think its management is junk, and it always has been.
Coaching.
The coach has never been a good fit for that team. If Montreal just got a guy like Tortorella, Babcock, somebody who can lead this team in the, put the sail in the right direction, and they need a defense that can allow Carey Price to be Carey Price, because
Shea Weber is all right.
We've lost
not
Subban.
enough.
We've lost. Is Markov gone yet?
Yeah.
We've lost Markov. We've lost Beaulieu. We've lost Georges. All these guys that helped make Carey Price who he was.
How can you say that? They have Jordy Ben.
All these guys who have helped make Carey Price kind of like at least help Carey Price be Carey Price and not get 70 shots on net every night.
Well, they don't get outshot that badly, but it's just their defense is not mobile at all.
They tried to.
Carl Alsner is very slow. Jordy Ben is slow. Shea Weber is slow. Jeff Petrie is not the greatest skater.
But
he's
again,
okay.
That's not that bad of a defensive core if you compare it to at least Vegas. Better than Vegas is. I'd take it over Vegas any day.
No, I wouldn't.
Weber, Ben, Alsner,
Yeah, but Weber
and
is...
Petrie. I'd take those four are better than anyone that Vegas has.
Okay, that's arguable, yes. Okay. But when...
So what are you going to say to that?
Man, they got Paul
obviously-
Byron and like it's Alex
but Vegas has
Galchenyuk and
Eric Holla.
Riley Smith, William Karlsson.
Yeah, awful names. So
They're not
I think
awful.
with
They have
Montreal,
upside.
you need to blow up the management, get some new
Yes.
guys in there,
Yeah.
and I think you need to make a couple more moves that make the guys want to play there. Go out and give up a first rounder or
Man,
give up
everybody
a second
wants to
rounder
play in
for
Vegas.
James Van Riemsdyk at the deadline. Get a guy who can score. Get a guy who could make the guys around you kind of happier that you're there. Go out and get a guy like Ian Cole for a
I'd
second
be
or third
pumped to
round
play in
pick.
Vegas.
Like, build your team around Carey Price. You've got Carey Price right now. This is the now for Montreal. No other teams are looking that. Toronto's looking good, but they're not. They're beatable.
Toronto?
Tampa Bay is
Yeah.
looking really good, but beatable. There's no team that is guaranteed to win the Stanley Cup. Pittsburgh, who just won, isn't even in a playoff spot.
No.
If you're Montreal, the time's now. You've got up and comers like McDavid
but there
on
are
Edmonton
35
and
games left, though.
Eichel on Buffalo, and teams will be Arizona's. I think Arizona's going to break out in the next couple of years. But you've
Claire
got
wants to get
teams.
traded.
Who does?
Duclair.
Yeah, requested for a trade.
He's on the fourth line on Arizona. I'm sure he does. But these are teams that are going to be up and coming. Whoever gets Dahlin, Buffalo, if they got Dahlin and Eichel, that's in your league, in your division. If I'm Montreal, the time is now. Blow up the management and start getting some guys who know how to score. Get rid of these Byrons and Galchenyuk needs to go. Gallagher, these guys are guys who should be good and just are not a good fit. So maybe the change of scenery would be good.
Another one of their problems is that they always want to go for the francophones, right? Like they got to have the French people on their team. Just go for the best player. You don't need Drouin on your team. Draft the best players.
wanted to
Don't
play
care
there, though.
about where they're from. If the best player available in the draft is from Quebec, sure, go ahead and draft him. But don't go off the board into round 4 when you're drafting the first round to draft a Quebec kid. Don't
Only
do
thing
that.
I have to say to that is some guys like I'm sure Matthews would have loved.
Playing in Arizona?
We all saw McDavid's face when Edmonton won the
He
pick,
was
and he
pissed.
knew he wasn't going to Buffalo.
Well,
he
he-
was beside himself because he wanted to go to Buffalo so bad, and then Edmonton drafted him.
But he wanted to go to Toronto.
Well, he knew he wasn't going to go to Toronto. It was Buffalo who had the first round pick until the thing got flipped. And
But you know
McDavid's
who
face
wanted to go
was
to Arizona,
priceless.
though? Oh, he was
McDavid,
miserable.
when he saw that Oiler.
And then
come
you look
up,
at the interview, right? He was not happy.
didn't
And
even
then
want to talk.
Matthews, I guarantee, would have killed to play for Arizona. I guarantee it.
For sure.
He grew up an Arizona Coyotes fan.
100%.
And that would have been incredible for Gary Bettman
Marner.
had he gone to Arizona. Arizona would definitely not have their financial problems today if Matthews was playing in Arizona. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Marner, Hyman, Brown, all Toronto boys. They all love playing here. I understand what you're saying, but sometimes it is good to bring back that guy who drew in, gone to Tampa Bay. I'm sure he would have loved to come home. He has. He just, for some reason, just hasn't clicked.
Yeah, I don't know
what
how.
it is.
Well, I guess it's because he's going to. Well, he should be on the second and third lines, but he's supposed to be the superstar on the first line. He's supposed to be all of a sudden the messiah for Montreal. He's supposed to solve all of their issues, right? He's supposed to be Crosby when he's absolutely never going to be. So, I don't know.
We are at past 7 o'clock. This has been another episode of the Knights Sports Show. We will be back next week, maybe to talk a little bit more about the NHL.
And Paul Byron.
And Paul Byron. And we will be in the middle of a lot of bye weeks, so it'll be a little bit of a lesser schedule, but plenty to talk about. I am Zach, along with Caleb and Mark. I hope you all have a great week.
Sayonara.